Hey brother, welcome back to this Making of a Nice Guy series. In this video, I want to talk to you about the quiet before the storm. I want to talk to you about living in an environment where there was always drama, that it was only punctuated by moments of peace, followed by more drama, that trained you, that formed you into a nice guy, that contributed to you becoming a nice guy, that contributed to developing nice guy coping mechanisms for your environment. Ones where we became very attuned to people's feelings and what was going on in our environment and whether or not we were going to be safe or not. See, I grew up in an alcoholic home with domestic violence and a lot of 2 a.m. mornings. And quite honestly, there was more drama than there was peace and quiet. In fact, when I look back, it was like going through a hurricane where you have all the wind and all the debris and all the drama of the weather. And then at some point, there's the eye of the storm. And the eye of the storm is quiet. It's where the winds die down. It's where the rain dies down and where people feel like they're safe again. But when you're in the eye of the storm is going to keep moving. It's going to pass over again. And so you're going to experience the wind and the rain and all of the uncertainty and unsafety. And it felt like that hurricane was just constantly swirling around, maybe more like a tornado, being in the eye of the tornado. Now, I know that's not necessarily a common phrase, but if you can imagine a hurricane that constantly kind of swirls and moves around you, and so you move in and out of the rain and in and out of the eye of the storm. That's what growing up was like. And it trained me to be continually tuned into people, their feelings, their moods, events, circumstances, what people were doing, what they weren't doing, what things could mean, not mean. And my brain was trained to be hyper analytical, hyper protective, hyper focused on what others were doing. And I developed coping mechanisms for myself, stories about what I needed to do and who I needed to be in order to please other people. And if you can relate to this, and I know you can because you're watching this video, if you can relate to this, I can tell you that life doesn't have to be that way. In fact, what we have to do is retrain our nervous system. Our nervous system has been trained to watch out for danger all the time. What we want to do is come to understand that we're actually okay, that without the storm, we're actually fine, that we can sit in a room quietly, breathing in and out, that our heart will pump blood, that our lungs will exchange oxygen, that we'll be able to just breathe and relax and be. But it's this hyper alert state, this always on inside of us, this carrying of tension, waiting for the shoe to drop, that's kept us stuck. In fact, the storm has passed. The storm is gone, but we're still on high alert. We're still sending out the beacon that it's not safe. And so we've got to come down off of that high alert and be able to relax into ourselves, to be confident in ourselves, knowing that we can trust ourselves, knowing that life isn't against us. And you may be thinking, I don't know if those things are true, Charlie. I don't know if I can trust myself. I don't know if life isn't against me. I don't know if I can trust life. Maybe I'm angry at God or life or the universe or the big kahuna, whatever you want to call it. Maybe I've disowned myself to the degree that I don't recognize who I am and I don't know what I want. And I've turned myself inside out to please other people. Maybe all of these things are true. And if that's the case, then it's time for something different, because I can guarantee you, if you continue to operate with the same set of rules, the same set of beliefs, the same set of operating instructions for yourself, you're gonna get the same results. How do I know that? That's what I did. That's what I did for almost 5 decades. When I woke up at 46, And I was making the most money that I had ever made. I was living in a 2-story house in Austin. I had an electric car. I had all the toys that I thought meant that I was successful in life. I was on the verge of divorce. I was miserable. I was working all the time. I had no friends. I had no outside activities. I had no life. I had no sense of self. I was doing everything for everybody else, trying to do all the things that I thought I was supposed to do to please others so that I could be happy, so that I could be okay, so that I could be safe. And it wasn't working. It didn't work. And I know you know that too. So now it's time to change. It's time to challenge our beliefs, challenge our rules, challenge our operating instructions for ourselves. And it's time to decide, is that working for me? Do I believe that? Is that true? Do I want to live that way? And when we do, that's when things start to change. Even when nothing materially outside of us changes, our perspective changes, the meaning that we assign to things change, the way that we feel about things change, the way that we feel about ourselves, how we view what people are doing or not doing starts to change. And so when things change on the inside, our world changes on the outside. And it changes on the outside, not just because we see things differently, but because now we're happy and whole and healthy. And we give that version of ourselves to our family. And they get to experience that version of us, and then they can relax, and they can be joyous, and they can smile, and they can enjoy us being happy. And that means that when we change, we start to see changes in them. It's not overnight. It's not always on our timeline, but it happens. I guarantee you it happens because I have experienced that in my own life. So here's what I want to do. I want to invite you to tell me your story. I told you mine. I want you to tell me your story. I want to listen to what has affected you, what you've carried with you all your life, what it is right now that's bothering you, that you want to be different. What is it that you want to experience? I want to listen. I want to be able to ask you clarification questions for you so that you can be clear about what it is that you believe and whether or not that's true and whether or not you want to live that way anymore. I want to be able to share my own personal insights and experiences with you. I want to share insights from men that I have coached with. I want to be able to point to books and movies and resources and be able to say, here are the resources to help you surface your own answers, because it's about you choosing how you want to live instead of feeling trapped, instead of feeling like a prisoner, instead of telling yourself that you can't or that it would upset somebody. It's about you setting yourself free and deciding how you want to live. So that's what I wanted to invite you into. So there's a link in the description where you can pick a day and a time that works for you to set up a 1-hour phone call, and we can talk with each other. And that's what we're going to do with each other on that phone call, brother. So until then, until we talk, I want you to remember, be kind to yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.